What's up, everyone? It's the 30th of September, 2024, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the death of actor John Ashton, who is best known for his role as Sergeant John Taggart in the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. And in this video, we'll explain how this story is a numeric riddle to that very film franchise, as well as his co-star, Eddie Murphy. Throughout this video, we'll explore more connections of this story. Prior to this year, it had been 30 years since there was a Beverly Hills Cop film. However, less than 3 months ago, a new one was released, and now we learn about the death of John Ashton just a few months later. We'll also look at how this is connected to a couple of the major secret societies, Yale Skull and Bones, as well as the Jesuit Order. Some interesting 33 numerology, and then also some connections to a couple of other politicians. Now, as always, we'll explore the language of Gematria with the 4 base methods shown on your screen here. And we will also check out the extended methods, both standard and Latin Gematria, the 2 very significant extended methods. So, let's get started. John Ashton, reportedly dead on... sorry, I got distracted by the chat. Someone told me that Pete Rose just died, which is, of course, huge news, and one that I will definitely be doing a video on soon. But for the sake of this video, we need to talk about John Ashton and the magnificent numerology that exists within this story. Now again, Ashton starred alongside Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop. And Eddie Murphy, a man with some very intriguing numbers, as we will explore. The least of which is not his birthday, April 3rd, because if you measure from that date to the date his co-star died, you get 176 days. In the reverse alphabetic order, his character's name, John Taggart, is 176. Furthermore, in the capitals added method, a cipher which maintains the alphabetic order but adds 26 for each capital letter, his real name, John Ashton, also sums to 176. The date he died, September 26th, is also the date that leaves 96 days in the year. And earlier this year, we had the 4th Beverly Hills Cop film released on Netflix called Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. In reduction, the name of that film equals 96. But there's more connections to this film. Notice how the name Eddie Murphy gives us a Latin value of 805, which in numerology matches the reverse value of the name Ashton, 85. And measuring from the release date of that film, July 3rd, to the death of Ashton was 85 days later. This is also 12 weeks and 1 day. Notice how blood sacrifice equals 121 in the alphabetic order. And what's not in the post is that John Taggart, his character's name, also has this 121 in ordinal. Now, the reason I put the phrase blood sacrifice here is because not only do you get the 121, but you also get a 332 in the Latin method. And consider how this movie is named Axel F. Well, in Latin Gematria, Axel F equals 332. And the man who plays Axel Foley, Eddie Murphy, was 3,300 weeks and 2 days old when this film came out. But Eddie Murphy is a man who actually has numbers connected to the city of Beverly Hills, which is, of course, the city where these films take place. In the alphabetic order, Eddie Murphy equals 128. This reminds us of the date 128, or January 28th, which is the date in history that the city of Beverly Hills was officially incorporated. January 28th of 1914. In standard gematria, the names Murphy and John both also have this 128. And when you look at how old the city was when John Ashcroft died, notice how the age ends in 419, matching the name Ashton. And maybe I said Ashcroft. You'll see why I confuse these names in a second. To get there, we need to talk about the Skull and Bones Code that's deeply engraved in this news story. And for this part of it, we start with the number in the headline, 76, Ashton's age when he died. In reverse reduction, Skull and Bones has this 76 gematria. 76 is also like July 6th, which is the birthday of Skull and Bones member George W. Bush, who was the president during the 9/11 attacks back in 2001. In fact, Bush's attorney general during the 9/11 attacks was named John Ashcroft, who was the first name that popped into my head when I saw the name of John Ashton in the news. And there's a strong alignment here because if you look at John Ashcroft's age on the date of Ashton's death, John Ashcroft, let me check his birthday real quick again, May 9th of 42. Check this out. Measuring from that date to the death of John Ashton is exactly 1,019 lunar phases after Ashcroft was born. So we get a nice little 9/11 tribute here. Using a cipher called square numbers, which is the alphabetic order with every number squared prior to adding it to the equation, notice how the name John Ashton sums to 1832. This stands out because 1832 is the year that the Skull and Bones Society was formed. In ordinal, Skull and Bones has gematria of 149. Notice how John Ashton died 149 days before his next birthday. His birthday, by the way, also a span of 149 days after the anniversary of the Jesuits. And he died on the eve of the Jesuit anniversary. More on that in a little bit. But this 149 is also found in the gematria of the city, Beverly Hills. Not only do you get 149, but you also get 1409. Now recall 1409 is another number connected to Skull and Bones because it's the 223rd prime number, the inverse of the digits listed on the emblem for Skull and Bones, 322. Now, if you measure from the release of Beverly Hills Cop Axel F earlier this year to the death of John Ashton, we get 2 months and 23 days. Notice how in Satanic Gematria, a cipher which is typically constructed around the number 666, the name Axel F sums to 223. The character Ashton played in the series was Sergeant John Taggart, a name which has gematria of both 1,322 and in reverse standard, Taggart is 2023. Numbers significant to Skull and Bones. Skull and Crossbones equals 223. Also notice how Jesuit Order sums to both 1223 and 2322. In fact, John Ashton was born a span of 302 weeks and 2 days after John Ashcroft, the former Attorney General of the United States. Meanwhile, Eddie Murphy, his co-star in the Beverly Hills Cop series, was born in Brooklyn, New York. And Brooklyn, New York sums to both 223 and the 322nd prime number. Now, this is a strong combination of numbers because last year, in the year 2023, Yale University turned 322 years old. My viewers know this fact quite well. Well, if you measure from the anniversary of Yale University, which falls on October 9th every year, measuring from their 322nd anniversary to the death of John Ashton is 11 months and 17 days. Now, this is the huge number that brings us to the next part of this decode, 1117. Now, if you look at the number 187, you'll notice a very powerful connection to these digits. First of all, 1117 is the 187th prime number, and 187 is 11 times 17. So this 1117 points us to a huge 187 riddle. And think about how Beverly Hills is in the state of California. And in California, the homicide code is listed as 187. Well, on the date Ashton died, Eddie Murphy was 23,187 days old. The most recent Beverly Hills Cop film was the fourth, Beverly Hills Cop 4. Released earlier this year, sums to 187. And remember the show Beverly Hills 90210? When you add that zip code to the Gematria of Beverly Hills, you get a 187. And I didn't even know this until I started this decode, but did you know there was an actress in Britain named Beverly Hills? Well, John Ashton died 187 days after Beverly Hills' birthday. The name John equals 187 in Satanic. And the other John Ash, John Ashcroft, his name also equals 187. The Skull and Bone Society is also known as the Brotherhood of Death. This phrase also equals 187. And later on, we'll look at the Jesuits, because the Society of Jesus also equals 187. In the reduction cipher, Society of Jesus equals 79. So does the movie Beverly Hills Cop 4. Gives us a nice 79. John Ashcroft, serving under President Bush, was the 79th United States Attorney General. And when you run the full name of John David Ashton, you get Gematria of 79. And the date he died, 9 plus 26 plus 20 plus 24, gives us a sum of 79. In the alphabetic order, the word murder equals 79. But I noticed a really strong alignment with the two creators of the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. This franchise is credited to two producers, Danilo Bach and Daniel Petrie Jr. Bach was exactly 80 years and 30 weeks old, while Petrie was exactly 3,800 weeks old. So here we find the digits 83 and 38, and the word murder sums to both 83 and 38. So let's explore how this is all synced up with the Society of Jesus. And this all begins with Eddie Murphy. His full name, Edward Regan Murphy, sums to 201 in the alphabetic order. The name Murphy, 201 with capital letters. And the city Beverly Hills also gives us 201 with caps. This is a huge number to the Jesuit Order, which equals 201. Two of its founders have Gematria of 201. The current pope is the first ever member of the Jesuit Order, and his name equals 201, and he lives in Suite 201 at the Damas Sanctae Marthae, which is 201. Measuring from Eddie Murphy's birthday to the anniversary of the Jesuit Order, which equals 177, is a span of 177 days. His co-star John Ashton did a span of 177 days after his birthday as well. This is another number connected to the police. Here we're talking about a buddy cop movie and police with the 177. Interesting lunar alignment here too. But what I really want to talk about with this part of the riddle is that Society of Jesus, in the alphabetic order, sums to the 43rd prime number. 191. The 43rd prime number. Well, Eddie Murphy was born on the date 4/3, April 3rd. And this is interesting because April 3rd is the date that many Christians believe Jesus was crucified. The name Eddie Murphy with prime numbers equals 403. And did the killing of Jesus Christ really occur on that date? Both killing and Jesus Christ equals 43? Well, now actor John Ashton, whose name equals 43, has died on a date with a life lesson number of 43. A date which falls 4 months and 3 days before the anniversary of the city of Beverly Hills. When Beverly Hills was officially incorporated, that too was on a date with 43 numerology. One more thing I want to mention with this skull and bones riddle is that John Ashton was born in the year 48. And the number 223 is the 48th prime number, but there's another strong connection here. When you write out the number 66 as it's spelled, notice how you get matching values with skull and bones, both 149 and 41 in reduction. On top of that, 66 also equals 2318. And recall, these are the same 4 digits in the founding year of Skull and Bones, 1832. Well, there's no founding date officially given for Skull and Bones, so we got to go with January 1st, I guess. And when you measure from that date to the birthday of John Ashton, notice how he was born exactly 6,060 weeks after that date. Now, measuring from Yale's big anniversary in October of last year to the release of Beverly Hills Cop 4 was 268 days. I mention this because when you write out the number 484, you get Gematria of 268. Well, if you measure from the founding date of the Jesuit Order to the date John Ashton died, including the end date, his death was exactly 484 years later. In fact, the name John Ashton has matching 124 Gematria with 484. And not only did he die 124 days after the anniversary of Beverly Hills Cop 3, more on that in a second, but it was also 124 days before the anniversary of Beverly Hills. The number 484 also has matching 1542 Gematria with Beverly Hills Cop. So how crazy that a Beverly Hills Cop dies on the 484th anniversary of the Jesuits. It's wild. So this is all about the Jesuit Order. And Order has Gematria of 33, just like secrecy. These organizations, plus Masonry, all built on the concept of secrecy. The word police also equals 33. And this police actor was born during lunation 311. Well, not only does 3 times 11 equal 33, but 33 equals 311 in Gematria. And when the third Beverly Hills Cop movie was released, not only was it 3 months, 3 days after John's birthday, but he was also 16,895 days old, and that 895 is the Latin Gematria of 33. And now this year, a new Beverly Hills Cop film comes out when Eddie Murphy is 3,300 weeks and 3 days old. And you have to appreciate that Eddie Murphy's middle name is Reagan. The name Ronald Reagan sums to 333 with prime numbers. And John Ashton died 33 weeks and 3 days after Ronald Reagan's birthday. Ronald Reagan was a great actor to become president. In the alphabetic order, both President and Ronald Reagan equal 110. The city of Beverly Hills was incorporated during Brown lunation -110. And that incorporation was 110 years ago. And now we get this riddle connected to the name Reagan. President Ronald Reagan, connected to that 110 numerology. Eddie Murphy has a lot more numbers that sync up with his birthday. Notice the reduction gematria. Edward Reagan Murphy summing to 93 and 87 in reverse. Well, Eddie Murphy was born on the 93rd day of the year, on a date with numerology of 87. So this guy's numbers are awesome. And then if you look at his reverse gematria, 258. Well, John Ashton died during Brown lunation 1258. John Ashton also died on the 26th of September, which is written 26/9 in most parts of the world. And if you include the end date, the new Beverly Hills Cop movie came out a span of 269 days after Yale's anniversary. The number 269 is the 57th prime number. And if you add these two numbers, 269 and 57, you get a sum of 326. And look at the age of Pope Francis when John Ashton died, 32,060 days old. Again, Francis the first Jesuit to become Pope. His death was also 14,540 days after the first Beverly Hills Cop film in 1984. And I just point this out because it has the same 4 digits as the year the Jesuits were founded, 1540. There's even a connection to actor Ashton Kutcher, which I suppose you should expect, given his last name of Ashton. But that's pretty much all I got. If you want to check out more, you can check out the link in the description. That'll take you right to these 2 blog posts I made. But no doubt, powerful links to Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop, which again was the most famous film that John Ashton starred in. All right, so that'll do it for this video. Once again, I will be diving nose first into the numerology of Pete Rose as soon as I wrap this stream up here. So do expect work on that, hopefully tomorrow at the latest. I took a couple days off over the weekend, but plan on hammering out some more work as the week progresses. All right, everyone, that'll do it for this stream. Peace, love, God bless. We'll talk to y'all next time. See ya.